Talk about the security implications now. Tony Smith is a former Director General of the UK Border Force and now a global border security consultant with Fortinus. He joins us from central London. Very good afternoon to you. Now, we've heard from the UK government that they say they're prepared to go wherever in the world they need to make sure that British passengers are safe in every airport. Logistically, is that possible?
Not entirely, Samantha. I mean, there will be a lot of work going on right now. And obviously the priority for the government will be to make sure that our people are safe and secure on return. I mean, I think the issue is that, we don't really know quite exactly what's happened here. But if this is a bomb, there's been a huge amount of development in aviation security, well, going back to Lockerbie really, but since 9/11 globally in terms of screening. And your pictures show the sorts of screening that happens. There's visible stuff that you see when you go through. You have to put your bag in a screen, you go through a scanner. So it's quite tight security globally now on stuff going into the cabin. And hold baggage, post check-in or bag drop is all screened now universally for explosives. And so it's really quite hard for a passenger to do this. What's more concerning is precisely what's going on the ground behind the scenes at Sharm el-Sheikh Airport and the extent to which we've been able to gain access to that.
What do you mean?
Well, in terms of injection of the hold materials, particularly cargo and people working on the airport. I had a lot of this because a lot of my guys at Border Force worked on the airport. So the staff had to go through search as well, the same as the passengers. And, some of my staff quite angry because they couldn't take their bottles of drink in for lunch because, their staff were saying, and significant vetting of staff, background checks to make sure that, you were, if you like, the risk of you as an insider, it was mitigated. That's more patchy. And I'm not sure precisely what arrangements are in place in Sharm el-Sheikh to vet people who have access to the apron, and also cargo now increasingly being mixed with passenger hold baggage in the hold are greater areas of risk. Now, clearly, I can't say that's what's happened here, because I don't know any more than you do what's happened here, but I expect what the government will be trying to do is to satisfy themselves that the cabin and the hold of any inbound aircraft are secure, and that may be the reason why they're more inclined to bring passengers back directly just through cabin baggage, because the cabin can be secured. They're not so sure about the hold, and that's maybe why hold baggage is being held back for now.
Is part of the problem here is that while there are international standards that every country in the world has signed up to, actually there isn't one body or organisation which enforces those standards?
Yeah, there's the International Civil Aviation Organisation, ICAO, in Montreal, which has branches all over the world. They set the standard. But you're right. I mean, so it depends really where it is. In the EU, for example, we have EU inspectors who come round and check to make sure that the British airports are doing what they should do, and European airports. And if they're not, well, then there's a report written and it's on Sky and everybody's making a fuss about it. When you go to places like the Middle East or the Far East, then you're more reliant really upon the local authorities and what inspection arrangements are in place. The airlines will be anxious about this. So all of the airlines have security officers who are well trained, well versed in procedures, and of course they'll be advising their parent company in the airline whether this is or is not a safe place to travel, and they will want to get access to these kind of behind the scenes arrangements that I'm talking about, but that's not always as easy as you might think.
Now, Egypt obviously are going to be extremely concerned of the impact this is going to have on the tourism industry. Employs 4 million people in the country. And let's just look at some pictures that a passenger took on board an EasyJet flight while they were boarding today en route to Gatwick this morning. They could see the plane surrounded by security personnel. We'll cut to another shot of that in just a second. There's four people guarding that plane. It looks like the Egyptian military. Now, obviously, this is a picture that Egypt will be very keen to portray, that the aircraft are safe, that passengers are secure, but they're not going to be able to guard every single plane going forward in this country or anywhere around the world, are they?
No, I mean, the approach is risk management, really, and risk assessment. So what is the risk of somebody being able to damage planes? So we've got risk mitigation for cabin, we've got risk mitigation for hold baggage that we've talked about, risk mitigation for cargo, insider threats, checking of staff. All of those things will be part of this investigation and follow-up. Now, of course, they're going to react in this way because that's what happens when you get a major event. But there are lots of events that go on that I go to every sort of in-between events where we try to review processes and procedures, and people do tend to relax more or when there hasn't been an incident, we do tend to respond rather than get ahead of the game. So that's why the shoes are still being taken off in some places, laptops, liquids and gels are all responses to events, attempts that have happened. And so what will happen is, as a result of this incident, there will be a huge inquiry, and there may well be a new set of arrangements put in place in some parts of the world about how how this aviation security is managed. But this is a massive industry, vast numbers of people working in it, and it's a very, very small threat actually in terms of the global movement of aircraft. So it's something everyone needs to be aware of, but we can never say, I don't think, that we've completely been able to eliminate risk.
Tony Smith, thanks for joining us today. Thank you.